throughout this evening. So
Right.
they already have 21 inches of rain that fell, plus more.
Yeah, and it's just going to keep coming down. Obviously, once the soil is saturated there, it just goes straight to runoff, creates bigger problems. You're seeing the impact that flooding had. The power of flood water just tears things up as it goes along, washes things, and then just leaves it. Once the floods recede, it just sits there and, you know, causes long-term problems because you can have disease, you can have rot and mold and everything else that happens after that floodwater recedes. Floodwater is not fresh, you know, taken, you know, it's fresh from the sky, but then it takes on everything that it flows through, and so it ends up being pretty polluted and dangerous. From there we go to Athens. Yeah, we're going to check out some wildfires in the Grecian capital there. Hundreds of firefighters trying to tackle this wildfire in Greece. It's quite the smoky scene. You can see it right there rising above the buildings at the Athens University. Crews are using planes, of course, and helicopters to fight the fires near the Athens mountain range. Just wildfires everywhere. It's just crazy to me. I mean, we understand it from a scientific point of view, but it's still difficult to get your head around the concept that in one area, you're talking about 21 inches of rain and a complete soggy, soaking mess. Another area so dry that it erupts into flames over in Athens. I mean, obviously, huge geographical gap, but in our country, one state to the next, one city to the next could be dealing with similar things. You know, California's had floods, earthquakes, wildfires all in the same week. So the power of Mother Nature and the planet that we live on is pretty intense, including the heat that it throws at us sometimes.
I know, and we're almost done with our little heat wave before we actually start to cool off. But an uncomfortable Monday for much of the East Coast as hot weather. Fox's Gernal Scott reports.
Sweaty, sticky, brutal temperatures gripped much of the East Coast on Monday. Feels like temperatures at or near triple digits across the southeast and northeast corridors. The National Weather Service listing more than 100 million people under a major heat warning. Tampa, Florida, already known for its hot, humid weather, hit 100 degrees for the first time ever on Sunday. Those spending the day outside finding different ways to beat the heat.
I will go in the water and play.
You wear a big hat and you put sunscreen on.
In those conditions, symptoms of heat exhaustion can show up within 30 minutes to an hour, and if left untreated, can progress to heat stroke, which can be fatal. Experts say the combination of high heat and high humidity is particularly dangerous.
Sweating is only of benefit in terms of regulating our body temperature if that sweat evaporates. And so the problem with high humidity is less evaporation for the same amount of sweat.
That can lead to dehydration. It goes without saying to stay inside and out of the sun if you can. Doctors say it's not only the vulnerable who are at risk.
You have this, relatively young, healthy group of patients who are really pushing themselves, during this hot weather and winding up in the emergency department.
Forecasters say relief should come in the back half of the week. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Thank you, Gernal. And for us, relief comes a little bit sooner, by about 24 hours or so. We're about to break out of the hot and stickies, but we still got air quality issues, and that's where we start our regional outlook.
Yes, so we trade the heat advisory for an air quality alert, and this time it's across the state. The air quality or the heat advisory was just for the southern half of the state, but today it is going to be for the entire state and even some of our surrounding areas. We've talked about wildfires, and guess what? That is why we have this air quality alert. We're still monitoring those wildfires in Canada as they are not 100% contained, so we're still dealing with that smoke occasionally to make its way across the state. Now, this air quality alert is in effect from now until Thursday at noon, and it's just going to be unhealthy air and affect those sensitive groups. So if you have any type of breathing problems, asthma, for instance, you definitely want to not necessarily avoid being outdoors, but just limit your time out there. If you start feeling, all congested or however you feel whenever there's unhealthy air, then definitely be sure to go back inside. As we look at that surface wildfire smoke for across the state. Now, we'll say this, they issued this air quality alert ahead of time technically all of that smoke is still just off to that northern tier of the state, but it will continue to move southward over the next 24 hours. So we will start to see and probably even smell a little bit of that wildfire smoke in the area. So it's good that we have their air quality alert in ahead of time, but it's just a little bit of smoke across the state, but not necessarily a lot or even just a moderate amount, but we will probably see that within the next 24 hours. As we move forward to, you'll even see it here as we plan ahead with that wildfire smoke. You start to see it really moving in this evening, and even it'll be moving in and out of the area. So we'll get a taste of it throughout the next 24 hours. And even as we head into Thursday, still going to be the same situation. But as we switch gears here, let's talk about temperatures. Temperatures are going to heat up again today for across the nation here. Los Angeles is still going to be the lucky people with the 70s today. They're at 72, but adjacent in Phoenix, they're at 110 degrees. You can only imagine what that heat index will feel like. 101 in Dallas, and then you got Houston checking in at 100. So today we're seeing multiple areas with the triple digits. Even in Salt Lake City, they're going to max out at 100 degrees today. We talked about New York having the heat, or at least on the East Coast, 96 for a high in New York today. And we are a little bit more comfortable than those areas. We're at 88 for a high today in the Milwaukee region, but we will still be in the 80s across the entire state. Let's take a look at those dew points. So dew points right now are pretty much very humid, especially for the area south of Wisconsin. So like Milwaukee, 72 right now with those dew points, which means it's very oppressive. But in areas south of Milwaukee, you see, are even more oppressive. 77 in Kansas City, 75 in St. Louis, and then our highs are going to climb a little bit more today. A little bit of a better relief just in the northern portion of the state. There are 77 in Marquette, 77 in Duluth. And this is just temperatures that we're talking across the state. But majority of the state will see 80s. We'll also have a heat index that could be in the 90s, just depending on where you are. Even Rockford, Illinois will be checking in the 90s, 92 in Chicago. But over the next couple of days, we're going to be trading that heat for something cooler, especially as we head into tomorrow. You'll notice the big difference. Today we'll get to 88, but then tomorrow we'll be around 74 degrees. We will be starting the state fair come Thursday. Temperatures will be nice and comfortable for the first week and weekend. We do heat back up though as we go into the weekend. We'll heat up to the lower 80s, which is still going to be rather comfortable because we won't have as much humidity to deal with. Those dew points are going to be trending a little bit lower. As we look at our satellite and radar across the state, nice and quiet there, but you notice near Cedar Rapids, there's just this little area of storms, but that's pretty much going to continue to fizzle out, and we should stay pretty dry throughout at least the rest of today. Up until later on tonight, we could start to see maybe a pop-up shower or two. Here's a look at our Fox weather model. As we go throughout the overnight hours, at least for that western half of the state there, we'll start to have those showers and storms enter into the area. They will lose a lot of momentum as they pretty much propagate eastward across the Milwaukee region. So by the time we make it to at least midnight going into Thursday, we should really have all of that rain cleared out of our area. So Wednesday's going to be a busy weather day, at least for some portions of Wisconsin, before we start to see the clearing of skies across the state there. So beautiful weather is going to be on the way. We just got to get through this hot day today and a rainy day on the way for tomorrow. Thursday's going to be looking nice and sunny. We could have a few of those clouds and maybe a few sprinkles to be possible in the northern portion of the state near the Rhinelander area, but overall still pretty dry, and I am looking forward to it, Rob.
There you go. Have you been to Rhinelander yet?
Not yet. I have to make my way up there to Door County too.
Yeah, Door County for sure. I love Door County. Rhinelander is also a place you got to go so you can see the hodag.
Oh, okay.
A mythical, maybe real, creature that lives up in the North Woods.
I gotta Google what a hodag looks
you're
like.
gonna have to figure that one out on your own. This story is a flood. It was not our fault. Had nothing to do with the weather, which is part of why I'm bringing it up. In case you were in this neighborhood and thinking we did not call for this, that's because it didn't come from us. Cleanup, though, is underway after an intersection in River West flooded. Again, nothing to do with the weather. This was the scene at Humboldt and Concordia yesterday. A spokeswoman for Milwaukee Waterworks tells his crews were performing scheduled valve maintenance when all of this water was relieved from the large water main. But they did clarify this was not a water main break, which is good because that would have just kept going and going and going. The main did have to be taken out of service and it'll take some time to drain. So we're told there's no impact to water quality or to the service in the area. Once again, yes, flood, no, not weather.
Which is great. I mean, it's always great.
But also don't drive in it. The last clip there, the person driving in it, just because it didn't come from the sky doesn't mean you should be driving in it. In fact, sometimes, if it's a water main break, that could have led to a huge sinkhole. But sorry, I cut you off there. What were you going to say?
Oh, nothing. Well, I'm going to toss the break now.
Okay. I was like, I just want to be done, get a little commercial break. We can do that. We'll be back in a bit. Welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts. Now, when we were going to break there, you and I were talking in the break about how that car was driving in the flood and that, very unsafe. Are you a gamer at all? Do you like to play video games?
Oh yeah, I played the ones like the older ones, like the Nintendo 64, and you had to blow and put it in the thing.
Oh yeah, you have the cartridge to go.
Yeah.
Well, I can even predate that with the Atari and all the Pac-Man and stuff. But you're right.
Okay, Pac-Man.
Yeah, you get the little. Anyway, my point is here that there are different ways to get in trouble with the weather. You don't expect it though when you're just being a gamer. Well, there's a man in North Carolina who was streaming on Twitch, which is a very popular gaming platform, a social media platform. And he was struck by lightning. Now, he was inside, like we said. He was doing the right thing when thunder roars come indoors, but he was still impacted by the lightning. Flint Snyder has why that's even possible in the first place.
Well, I mean, obviously.
Gamer Christian Howard was close to ending his online live stream when he got quite the shock. A sudden flash followed by Howard bolting from his chair. The stream's still live. He returns and tells viewers,
Bro, I just got struck by lightning. I felt lightning go through my earbuds.
The gamer, who goes by the username CrispyMate, says he was wearing earbuds partially made out of metal when lightning struck on July 19th outside his Wake County home. The shock inside caught on camera.
When you watch the video back, I mean, what did you think?
Yeah, when I watch it back, I'm just very surprised. If you were to take like a gum strip gag toy and just pull it, and you get that little zap, I got both the sensations, then all my vision went white, and then I bolted.
WRAL meteorologist Amy Wilmoth says lightning can travel through pipes and electrical wires.
You don't want to be attached to any kind of device that's attached to a light socket or an electrical socket. Headphones connected to a device that's plugged into a wall, that's certainly a danger in an electrical storm.
Ow!
Howard says he was not seriously hurt.
Felt amazing when I woke up, went straight to the gym, had the best workout of my life. It just feels like a giant drum, just somebody beats the drum in your eardrum.
And is taking precautions before the next storm hits.
Making sure I'm safe. If I know there's a storm, I'll probably try to avoid it as best as I can.
Calming concerned viewers, Howard eventually ended the live stream, a gaming experience he won't soon forget.
I'm gonna stop stream.
Flint Snyder, WRAL News, Holly Springs.
Wow. I mean, that was bizarre video. And I mean, you know, as a meteorologist was explaining, obviously it can impact you even inside your home, passes through the electrical, and the earbuds were a perfect conduit.
Yep.
He's very lucky that all he got was a bit of a zap. And I thought it was interesting that he said that he actually felt good afterward.
Yeah, that my eyes got wide. And him saying that he just felt like it was a big drum blasted. I didn't think that he would hear anything.
Yeah, well, maybe because it went through his earbuds. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, being inside like that. But what a fascinating piece of video for sure. So happy to share it with you. This is less of a positive story. I mean, that wasn't exactly positive, although it had a happy outcome. We're talking West Nile now.
Yeah, I know. Not so good. So the state health officials confirmed the first West Nile case in Wisconsin this year. The first human case was reported in a resident in Barron County, and mosquitoes collected in Milwaukee and Lafayette counties also tested positive for the virus. The Department of Health Services is urging everyone to protect themselves from mosquito bites. Keep in mind, too, people with weak immune systems are at higher risk for serious illnesses. The virus is spread to humans, birds, and other animals through the bite of an infected mosquito.
So here's some tips on protecting yourself. You can apply an insect repellent to exposed skin and clothing. Always a great idea, particularly if you're going to be in more rural areas, areas with long grass, standing water. Consider rescheduling early evening or evening or early morning outdoor activities. That's when mosquitoes tend to be the most active. You can wear long sleeves. The more you cover up, the less access they have. The long pants, maybe socks too, to keep the mosquitoes away from your skin. The long pants and the socks also helps with the ticks. We've been talking about deer ticks and the Lyme disease that goes along with that as well. All right, from mosquitoes to beef cattle, the price of beef is actually hitting record highs, and this is from a nationwide cattle shortage. Inventory now reportedly the lowest it's been in 74 years. And, of course, there's a weather reason here because of drought conditions that have dried up the free grazing grass. So ranchers are now forced to buy rather expensive feed for their animals as compared to the free grass that the animals can graze on. So cattle imports from Mexico have been suspended following the discovery there of a flesh-eating fly. So that's also contributing to the price increases. But it's amazing to think the impact that the drought had because, you know, obviously farmers around here, we don't have as much free grazing opportunity as some of the ranchers down south. So our local farmers probably are, you know, they factor that into the price of raising their cattle. But the big ranches where they just let them go range and graze, having to feed them and pay for that feed obviously is a huge expense that they have to incorporate somehow.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, we'll be back. We've got more Wisconsin weather experts on the other side, including a little taste of the latest edition of the Isobar.
you guys to Wisconsin Weather Experts. So we got a few more things for you, including talking about something really exciting, State Fair.
That's right. It's coming up on Thursday. So many things going on, of course, down there. We've got the animals, the fun, the food, the cream puffs. So it's Thursday that we kick this off, and of course we'll be down there. Fox 6 is always a big part of State Fair. We're getting get close up. We're going to be down at the Dairy Building, which dates back to 1909. It's been updated down there. State Fair runs July 31st through August 10th, and on the 31st we'll have Wake Up Real Milwaukee and Weather Experts live on location. And if you want a little bit more weather when you're done watching the Wisconsin Weather Experts, you can check out the latest episode of our all-weather podcast, the Isobar, the highs and lows of meteorology. Here's just a little taste. Welcome back to the Isobar, the highs and lows of meteorology. I am joined by my regular castmates here. We've got Richard over in Detroit, Emily down in Chicago, and of course, right here in Milwaukee. All three of us chief meteorologists, and all three of us really love to talk about the weather. And lately, guys, Mother Nature has given us so much. I'm not sure we can squeeze it into the next 24 minutes, but let's start with the severe weather. Emily, you want to kick us off?
You know, I will say we've had several rounds of severe thunderstorms in the Chicagoland area over the last, it seems like every week we're at least getting a small little dose, but it still has been, I think if you were to ask any Chicagoan, it feels mild in comparison to last year, the year before, just because we had such record-breaking years with tornadoes. This year, it's all about the wind. So we've had really gusty thunderstorms moving through. And
some great video from down in the Chicagoland area over in Detroit. Check out the Isobar. It streams right here on Fox Local, and you can bring it up on demand both on Fox Local and, of course, on the Fox 6 YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow.